Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the SeatGeek. Guys, I don't know about you, but we had our emergency pod about the recent blockbuster of a trade, and we're all still reeling, so we're a little off schedule, but there's so much to talk about. We're excited. We're going to be back with you so soon. And of course, I'm Kat, joined by my co-host Zach, and we do have a special guest in our unpaid intern joining us this time. How are we doing today, guys?
Hey, doing good. The Hurricanes are on a 6-game point streak, which I know we'll talk about later on. And, just always happy to talk about this team and just excited to see how we end the month of January.
The Canes are a wagon. Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall are Carolina Hurricanes. This is true. We weren't dreaming. Selfishly, Connor Bedard's coming into town. So we're excited about it all.
This is honestly, guys, we had this. The intern wanted to make his debut because it was going to be about Connor Bedard, but then the big trade happened, so it's just kind of cherry on top. But
before we go into that, Kat, how are you doing tonight?
I'm exhausted.
Fair enough.
But I was really fortunate to. We'll speak a little bit later on the game, but I was fortunate to be able to be on a live stream with Jimmy from the Blue Seats, watching the Rangers and the Canes game, which was super fun. So I am reeling from that. A shutout win is fantastic, but we'll talk about it a little bit later. But overall, I'm just tired. I will get my energy back for the game tomorrow. I'm excited to get back in person at Lenovo. But intern, you kind of called this trade offhandedly, not on purpose, but
I did. Look, I am a sucker for off seasons, mock drafts. As a Bears fan, I live in the off season. I live for hope. So granted, I'm always thinking about the off season. So looking ahead to the 2025 NHL off season, Mikko Rantanen, biggest name up there with Mitch Marner. So in my head, I'm doing the calculations. How much cap are we going to have? So instinctually, I'm like, yes, Mikko Rantanen, let's go get this cat. Let's make it happen. So we sent the text because Bailey, esteemed colleague, she's now covering the Avs. So every once in a while, she'll ask, like, oh, what questions do you want us to ask everyone? So
I think it was even unprompted. I think you just
honestly
just scrolling back real quick.
I'm trying to, because it came out of nowhere. We sent so many texts in between, but essentially I was like, hey, ask Mikko if he would like Raleigh, if he'd be a good fit here. And Bailey's like,
you said ask him when he's getting to Raleigh.
Even better. I mean, and he's here now. He beat all of our expectations. He's now here. Amazing.
It's like, hey, just jump on a plane. Why not? Why not? It got worked out.
I love that Bailey was like, I don't want to ask him because he's been kind of weird about it. And then we were all like, it can't hurt. And I don't know if it was you, Zach, or intern that was like, we'll just ask him on locker cleanout day. And that ended up being a little bit sooner than anticipated. But
just a bit.
It was just the coincidence of it all made us all laugh. And it was, again, it's very bittersweet, especially now where, all of it happened so quickly. And of course, you have to react like what just happened as fans. And, looking at the score, the score sheets, the stat sheets, all of that. And, there's a sense of like excitement. There is a little bit of like bittersweet because both the guys that left, and again, on the Avs side, there's a lot of bittersweet memory. Like that's a core guy Rantanen was there for 10 years. We've had Nature's and Drury for so long. And while on both sides, there's always like the possibility of them leaving. Just the quickness of it and the just suddenness has everyone reeling. Like you can be upset, you can be excited. But also just sitting back is like, it feels weird. It's business, but it's also, you make connections with these players. You're used to watching them on ice do their thing. They've been in big and like high and low moments for all the teams. So especially with some of the goodbye posts is like these guys didn't really have time to say goodbye to a lot of their teammates.
The Martin
Necas post.
Y'all, the Necas one,
I have it pulled up. Let me read it to you guys.
Everyone grab your tissues.
Dude, that last line absolutely kills me.
On Instagram, I'll read the full thing. He said, to Carolina Hurricanes organization, staff, coaches, and Caniacs, I will be forever grateful for my time in Raleigh. Thank you for making the past 6 years so special, even though we never got to our goal to lift the cup. Words can't truly describe all of my emotions. This definitely came as a shock and will take time to fully process it. To my Canes teammates, I loved every moment with you guys, and I have learned so much from so many of you. It really felt like a family in the locker room for past couple of years, and I made some lifetime friends. To Avs fans, I'm very grateful for this opportunity and super excited about joining this great organization and playing in front of you all in Denver. And here's the one that gets everyone. Guess after all, you can spell Canes without Natchez. Boom!
And
right to the heart.
Because, everyone always would say that, especially on one of his highlight moments. And you just have to remember for these players, like, yes, Rantanen, there was a little bit of stall out with his contract. Yes, he could have asked for less. Like, there are so many things that could have made him stay. And also, you're like, well, Natchez injury both expressed at one point that they were ready they could move on. They were ready to go somewhere else, find other opportunities. But even if they've expressed that at times, like that doesn't mean that's how they're feeling currently. That they're on a team that's both of them are on a team that's thriving. They're doing well. They think, hey, we're winning. We're pushing forward. Gotten over that weird like back and forth slump that we're in. Rantanen's thinking he's like, I didn't think the contract was really a no deal. Like I thought we were still talking about it. So it's just a little bit of like, yes, they express that, but then once you actually have to leave your family, pretty much, it's just a shock. Like it's business, and that's how sports and professional athletes work. But when you've been somewhere for so long, it's a big shock. And I feel for all these players. I do think in the long run, it'll benefit all of them. But that is a big shock.
Yeah, it really is. Because you look at just how fast it was too. When you think about it, I know all of us were busy Friday night, just having to kind of reel in through like all the information. Of course, you go from like 8:00 news kind of starts, and then by 11:15, 11:30, we're in the middle of an hour and a half live stream of just
not an accurate report for 2 hours, and you're like, who is it?
Right, which is crazy because it's apparently Kakaniemi's part of it. Now he's not part of it. Now it's Jack Jury's part of it. Like, who are the Blackhawks going to get? Like, who's this, that, and the other? And you look at it, and yeah, it's tough when you lose guys like that, and then you're excited, you're going through the excitement, all the emotions, but it's like, okay, once you take that step back and have a couple of days to go through it, that's a sudden change. Like, no, this was a trade that no one thought was going to happen, and no one thought it was going to be Martin Necas and Jack Drury, which is crazy to think about because of just those are two guys you're so used to seeing in the lineup, and now they're no longer Carolina Hurricanes. And hey, right now against the Rangers, they both did pretty well against those guys, and which we'll definitely talk about that very interesting stat of the Rangers against the Avs and Hurricanes. But it's you look at it's just the business of it all, and the fact that now you get Mikko Rantanen, like you said, Kat, like anything could really happen with that deal. But I guess apparently the Avs thought, well, maybe not. Maybe they can pull the trigger now and get some guys that have some term on and don't have to worry about it. And now the Hurricanes have the ball in their court of seeing if they can, keep Mikko and get that 8th year done. And then let's not forget the guy who kind of started this whole thing in Taylor Hall. Like, he's the initial report. It's like, okay, cool. Then all of a sudden you hear Mikko Rantanen, and it's like, wait, hold up. What now? So. Well,
it's funny because with the whiplash of all of it, I think Hall was the only one who was like, I felt like I was getting traded. Like
he already
knew.
He already knew. He knew 2 days before. They're like, I'm waiting to see what happens. And then
of all the guys, and of all the guys, like again, they're all adjusting. They're all like, I think Taylor Hall was the one who was like, and granted, it's different too because he's leaving the Chicago Blackhawks. Like he has a chance to get on. He didn't know if it was Carolina, Colorado. he has a chance to get onto a playoff bound team.
Well, he knew it was Carolina. He knew it was Carolina even like 2 days before, which is even crazy.
So he's probably just excited. And I love, it's funny, all the guys, you're like, okay, so when are we going to extend Rantanen? Right? And it's like, I'm still like reeling from what happened. They haven't asked that, like Nature's and Drury, they have part of their deal still going on. So that's not even a thought for them. They're just trying to figure out where they're going to sleep at night. But Taylor Hall, I kind of love it. And I think he's already kind of becoming a little bit of a fan favorite. Just him saying the way he's performed on the ice. And then his thing of, I'm kind of tired of switching teams. Me and my wife would love to find a spot and settle down. And hopefully that's Carolina. And so far, I mean, we haven't seen a lot of them, but from what we've seen, he's really wanting to make that case to stay here.
I mean, yes, he hasn't recorded a shot yet, but he is a +2, does have an assist. We finally saw that. Of course, we'll talk about it later. But you look at his game, and Eric Tolsky said it, Rod Brindamore said it. He brings that physicality of a strong forecheck, and he plays aggressive hockey. And that's the thing that he even talked about himself, where he likes that, how the Hurricanes are such an analytical team. They look past the score sheet and look at how that guy plays. Taylor Hall fits this system. He's a physical body. Like in the first game, he threw like 3 hits against the Islanders. Like he threw even a couple more against the Rangers, and it's already blocking shots.
And he's finding the passes. Like if you're finding someone that's going to get Svetch going, that's fantastic.
That line of Kotkaniemi, Hall, and Svechnikov, that might have been the unlock that we've been kind of looking for. Nothing against Marty Necas, but you get like even KK's on a 5-game point streak, and that's including the fact of the Islanders and the Rangers. It's just if Taylor Hall's that guy on the second line to get those guys going, hey, he'll take that. And I like the fact that because he was on What's Chaos with DJ Bean and Pete Blackburn, and just listening to him talk, you have to appreciate Taylor Hall for what his career has been, for the fact that a first overall pick who's now on his 7th team, which is insane to pretty much anyone, because a guy like that shouldn't be on that many teams. And like you said, Kat, he's sick of it. He wants to stay in Carolina. And I'm like, honestly, the way he's playing right now and the way he's kind of talking about it, if they could extend him 3 seasons, like give him like a 3-year deal, obviously a lot less than $6 million, maybe like half of that, that's not a bad contract to give a guy who could really be a boost to your roster. And we're already seeing it so far in 2 games. So, yeah, well, it seems like a lot of people like Taylor Hall right now.
To that extent, too, the Canes have the money this offseason, which I think
100%.
People are terrified that Mikko is going to turn into another Jake Gensel, but that is not the case based on the cap space. And Tolsky even mentioned it on his press conference.
Honestly, I love that this is so different than with previous because we have the money. They have managed this cap so smart. Like, let the nerds run the hockey world.
Exactly.
They have managed it so intelligently that they're like, we have room for this. This is no problem. So now, because they don't have to worry about money wise, they literally just have to say, what can we do to make him enjoy his time here, fit our system? Like they can really just focus on meeting the needs of the player and having him really feel like, okay, this can be my next home. And I love that, because then you don't have to worry about that business side of things. You really have time to connect with the player, that's what the Canes, like the locker room's so tight knit. That's what Rod excels at. So I'm excited that we don't have to worry about the monopoly money in the long run.
Yeah, we're not having a nickel and dime to the cap like we saw this past season with trying to Gensel his 8. Because you think about it, Kat, you're talking 7.75 for Orlov, 5.4 for Brent Burns, 3.4 for Anderson, 2.4 for Fost. You got all these contracts coming off the books, and Tolsky even said it too. You're looking at 93 to 97 million per on the cap. So let's say it goes to 97, or even goes to 93. Let's say it goes to the short end. You're going to have all this extra money formed up with the fact you're going from 88 to 93, which is still a good bump, let alone because that's already $5 million. And then all these contracts are coming off the books. Oh, and you might have Scott Morrow and Alexander Nikisha coming onto your defense on ELCs. Like, okay, great. That's fantastic. Now you got more room to go get your tandem goalie for Pierre Kachekov. You can have all these guys you want to bring back, like an Eric Robinson if you want to bring him back because he's playing great. Give him a decent contract. But, yeah, you can bring back Taylor Hall for a great a 3x3, just like how he did it for Chatfield and Jordan Martinook. Give Taylor Hall 3x3, even 3.5. That's still not bad, and you can still give Mikko Rantanen his $14 million. You can give it to him as a whole, $14 million to the AAV, or they can. And this is what Elliot Friedman said on 32 Thoughts, is that the Hurricanes are going to be very creative of how they want to get this done. They could pull a Seth Jarvis and Jacob Slavin where it's like, hey, we'll give you your money, but we might give you a shorter AAV. We might give you a lesser AAV with deferred money. So they can be very smart of how they want to give him his $14 million. It doesn't have to be all on one cut and dry set thing. They could be very, very smart with how they want to do this contract.
I am waiting for the day you, Eric Polsky, come on this podcast and talk about it, because this man has made media appearances everywhere, and we're just waiting to get the contact information to officially ask him. So if I ever run into him in a hallway at PNC, I'm saying, hey, buddy, when are we getting you on the Surgecast? Because we know you're not afraid to get in front of the camera.
Yeah, if you haven't seen his conversation with Jeff and Eric, it's really good. It's really insightful just to like see how he goes about the fact that they're not done yet. Like, they're not done making moves. Like, they have other moves that they're kind of working on right now, and how he knows, like, okay, you got Mikko Rantanen. Like, are you going to sign him? It's like, well, no, we have to, like, he hasn't even been to Raleigh yet. Like, let's just get him incorporated.
Yeah.
Let's,
I will say,
make them fit into it. It's like they're doing it the right way, where it's like, hey, we're just going to let you ease into Raleigh. Because we all know the guys love the area. Like, all the alumni are still there. Jacob Slavin lives there full time. Like, guys love the area. The area speaks for itself. You don't have to force Raleigh on these guys. That's the great thing about the triangle. You don't have to force it.
I will also say, I know a lot of Canes fans are worried, and it's a little bit of the Ginsel PTSD, honestly. Because they're like, why haven't they re-signed him? Why haven't they re-signed him? And it's like, that's not the focus right now. They wanted that. Like, I think a lot of people are like, it also comes to it. A lot of people are like, who won this trade? I think the Carolina Hurricanes I think they won the trade if they get him re-signed. And I think that is their goal. I don't think they went into this thinking, okay, well, like, I think with Ginsel, it was okay, maybe. And then they try to finagle it because the cap space. I think now they're very much like, we already have this, and this is already a card we're ready to play. I'm going to put that in my back pocket and we'll come to it later. Right now, I need to focus on the present and what we're doing right now so that this player gets acclimated. He likes his line mates. He likes where he is, because it's a guy that left his home of 10 years. Like, that's a big change. And it wasn't because he chose to come here. It was because of a trade that he didn't think was happening. And I know there's been some whiplash, and I fully understand it. Of some people are like, I don't really like he doesn't know if he feels like he wants to be here. I understand that, and I can feel it a little bit, but I'm also really sympathetic with this guy of thinking he just left a home that he knew, and it was a little bit of the rug pulled out from underneath him, because I don't think could he have asked for less money? Yeah. But also you don't know all the backside of the things of where his agent, what he was telling him, what he was working on with the Avs. Like, yeah, they're going to say one thing. And a lot of people are like, well, the Avs could have paid him that, or they could have worked something else out. We don't know what those deals were. And maybe one side had some different facts than the other.
Well, from what I've heard, the Avs want to make him the highest paid winger in the NHL, but they don't want him making more than Nathan McKinnon. Like,
that's interesting, because they didn't, like, Nathan McKinnon said, I don't care. And a lot of people are saying it shouldn't matter if he's paid more. If your winger is paid more, if that winger is someone that compliments you.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that the guy says. But if management says one thing, that's completely different. Nathan McKinnon can say all
you also don't know what the agents are saying. The agents are doing all that work, and they might be saying some stuff where you're like, the player wouldn't care about this, and the agent says something else. Right. Either way, I'm giving this guy grace, because he got 100%.
Well, also, too, Kale McCarr has to get paid very soon too. So I think Colorado's looking at, okay, how many guys can we give $12 million to?
Yeah,
because even with the cap going up, they don't want to be like Toronto, where you're nickel and diming your bottom six.
This just points out again how smart our management has been. You've locked in a lot of the key guys, in Aho, Svech, KK, Jarvis, Slavin. You've locked in so many good ones on deals that are gonna be with new cap space, all this stuff, and with guys around the league asking for over 10. Like, these are like relatively friendly.
The Walker, the Gossespierre deals. Oh my
for
gosh, those are
using
so great.
guys that and like guys that are like not aging out, but like not in their prime so much like Taylor Hall, but still can contribute and really make something happen. And you're like, okay, let me get him for what I can. He's not going to be a big like money guy, but what I can use of him on my team is what I need. So like, why would you spend like, no, I know we keep bringing them up. No offense to Nashville. They went and paid all of the people and that didn't like, they didn't click. They didn't like, that didn't work. Like you spent all this money on all these different pieces and now you're stuck.
And bringing it back to the Canes and Mikko, like you said, you have the cap space, you have your superstar now, and people were always like, the Sebastian Aho rule, you can't pay more than what Aho's making. That's out the window now. You're paying Mikko whatever it takes, and like
I think Aho understands.
Yeah.
He's your best friend and ex-roommate, and the one on junior teams and world championships. Sebastian Aho doesn't. He wants to win a cup. He does not care if Mikko makes more money.
And to that point, that's why I'm confident that I think Mikko resigns, because you have your Finns around him. Like he feels comfortable in the locker room. He has Aho with them. Aho is going to be able to be with them for the entire Four Nations, to talk with them even more during that. Turbo is going to be there, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So like he will be able to give that insight on what it's like to play on the Canes as well. So all the intel Mikko is going to get is going to be outstanding on what it'll take to like be a Hurricane. So I am full blown Mikko staying 100%.
Yeah. The thing is, people ask me is like, are you hesitant? Are you worried? I'm like, it's not 0, but it's less than 1. That's how confident I am that if they make this work, I think Mikko Rantanen will be a Carolina Hurricane. And I forget her name. I know it's her tag is, I think it's, I can't remember what it is, but it's like her name is L with a watermelon next to it. My brain can't think of what her tag name is. She actually translated Mikko Rantanen's dad's like interview with the Finnish media, saying that it's, he liked Denver because also he, with how Raleigh is, where maybe it's not as a big of a city. He's a kid from a small area in Finland, so like being in a smaller area, it's not going to be bad for him. So this could work out to where, hey, it's not Denver, it's not LA, it's not New York. Yeah, maybe it's not one of those big cities, but Raleigh is still a good area where you can kind of have like that medium town feel on it, to where you can still do what you want to do, but it's not like all the lights are going to be like say Toronto or Montreal, where they're all up on you. No, you can actually kind of just be a guy who lives in Raleigh and plays for the Hurricanes. Yeah,
when allegedly the guys ever go out, like it's not often they get recognized, and when they do, it's like diehard Caniacs. So like they're very much able to like live their own lives and do their own thing, which I'm sure coming from the small hometown, like you would very much appreciate.
Right, exactly.
I do like the quote. Corey Levelett had a quote from Brenda Moore recently, which is really funny because listen, as I read this, you really have to picture Rod saying it, because it's the most like, I had to read it a couple of times because I was like, what? And then I was like, okay, the way Rod speaks makes sense.
Yeah.
But he said the most enlightening quote from Brenda Moore. I think the players we've added, we're going to probably see a little more of that kind of stuff versus maybe some of the other way we've been playing. There's a little transition going on here, but we get open eyes with the players we've added. I think you're going to see a little more of that. And this kind of, there is a little bit of difference. Like you're going to have the Canes that are a strong defensive team. They're going to be a quick, like up and down the ice. They're going to be hard at the forechecking, but you already kind of see a little bit of difference with these new guys. Like, yes, Taylor Hall is going to be doing what we're asking of him, but he's also finding these passes that we weren't finding before. And the same with Rantanen, like literally that transition from the Rangers breakaway to our own chance. The moment Shesterkin went down, I was like, I couldn't tell it was Rantanen at first, but I was like, oh gosh, they're going to try to chip it over him. It's not going to, like, I had that feeling because that's the Canes mentality. The fact that he was so smart to drop that pass back to knowing that Svetch was open there for that shot into the open net. Like that's different. That's what he's saying. You're going to see a little bit of different stuff with these guys in the lineup. And if that's like, I don't think Rod's someone that he's going to coach that out of them. I think he's going to be like, all right, how can we use this to work with our system? Yeah. Because our system is getting us to where we need to be, but we need a little extra like spice of something different. And if that's what these guys are going to bring to it, fantastic.
Yeah, because you're kind of opening up the ice a lot more, because now you're going to have guys having to now gravitate towards, oh my goodness, there's Mikko Rantanen, we got to stop him. Well, here's Sebastian Aho, here's Andrei Svechnikov, here's whoever you have, Jackson Blake. I want to say this too. That pass by Jackson Blake to get it back to Mikko Rantanen on the nice give and go, phenomenal. But even Taylor Hall, you saw them suck into Taylor Hall, and that's how you found Andrei basically kind of by himself. So yeah, Kat, you're seeing this where Rod is not really lifting the reins completely off, but it's kind of like he's doing it a little bit enough to be like, okay, we're going to let you guys, we're still going to keep our system, but we're going to let you kind of incorporate your skill set into the system too. So it kind of like it all works together instead of, no, you have to do it this way. It's more of, how can we make this work to our advantage and kind of have the matchups that we want? And I think you're already seeing that, because Carly Lavalette posted against the Islanders where when it was Blake, Aho, Rantanen, they didn't let the other team score against them. They had like 3/4 of like the shooting chances. Like, they played a phenomenal game. They even played great against the Rangers too. Like, that Rangers game, of all four lines just absolutely clicking the entire night. That's what we've been waiting for since
Jimmy asked me who stood out to me, and I was like, honestly, the whole
Everyone?
team is clicking. I was like, maybe I'd say Spetch because he's doing a little extra work.
Oh my
but the
gosh.
whole team was on top of it.
The Jordans on the Jarvis goal, talking about just boiling the opponent to get your kid ready to score his goal to make it 4-0. The Sebastian Aho goal was just phenomenal. That was a game, like I said, this is the Hurricanes team we've been kind of waiting for since mid-November. To now you have all four lines. Like, the thing is, you played with 11-7 and you still won 4-0. Of course, we'll talk more about the recaps, but the additions of Rantanen and Hall already, you're already kind of, I know the first game, it's kind of tough. No practices. They're not used to the system. They're trying to figure it out. Yeah, you got a point. Okay, whatever. But you go to the Rangers game. Now you got a practice and a morning skate, and then you go 11-7 with Riley Stillman, and you beat the brakes off the Rangers in their own barn, and you do it the way you're like, this is the Hurricane. This team's amazing. This team is fun to watch. And now you're about ready to go play Chicago, and they're going into February, and it's like it seems like every game's gonna be electric now.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. We could keep talking about these trades. I mean, we're gonna have more to talk about it because, again,
there's gonna be a lot more trades.
The rest of the season, there's gonna be trades around. There's trades around the league, but there's gonna be a lot. We're still looking at Rantanen and Hall getting their first home game here against the Blackhawks, of course. But overall, I think, like I said in the live, I think this benefits both Colorado and Carolina. Sorry, I don't know what Chicago really got out of that, except they paid. They pretty much are paying.
4.3 mils. Bedard's best teammate.
Yeah, they're pretty much paying for that draft pick.
4.6. Yeah, the third round pick. 4.6. Here's what I'm thinking though. Could be an offer sheet because it's their pick. We might see an offer sheet move. I'm just saying. Could be an offer sheet this summer.
An offer sheet?
Yeah, because you need your own draft picks to go offer sheet someone, because you have to give the compensation to the other team, and it has to be your specific picks.
Oh,
so the Blackhawks.
Who do you think they'd offer sheet? Who do you think would want to do that with? Who would want to go play for Blackhawks?
I'm sure they have cap space too. So
they got cap space.
I know they do have cap space, but it's also like,
I'm just saying,
it's a want the money to lose. I don't know.
It's a possibility. I'm just saying,
the competitor in me says I don't want to get paid for the.
If I got paid $7 million to live in Chicago and lose, yeah, I'd do that all day. Send me anywhere. Send me to Long Island. I wouldn't care if you paid me that much.
Okay, so it's the Chicago mentality.
Ma'am, the Bears hired Ben Johnson. I don't know if you knew that.
We're not a football podcast. Anyway,
God.
I would say, going back, I think it's beneficial to both Carolina and Colorado. And I think in the long run, it'll be beneficial to all the players involved. I think right now, again, it's going to be bittersweet. It's a little bit of a whiplash for all the players because, again, they left families. It's literally like you had to have this change. It's like going off to college for the first time or moving away from the parents for the first time, because that's something you're familiar with, you're thriving, but you got to go somewhere new.
It was so sudden.
Change sucks. Change sucks. But
yeah, it was just so sudden. It was crazy.
Yeah. But moving on, We did have a really fun 3 games.
5 points. I called it.
I
Just
know.
the wrong game, though.
I know. I was ought to be like, I don't remember if I said 5 or 6 at
You
this
said
point.
6. I said 5.
Well, we switched it up, but I'm fine with it. I'm fine. 5 points. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I got the wrong game though, but hey, I'll take 5 out of 6. At least I nailed it this time.
We started with the Blue Jackets. It was an all Metro Division matchup for the past 3 games.
That Jackets game, that first period, it was almost giving us like that Chicago Blackhawks game. We're like, okay, you're down 2-0 after 1. It wasn't pretty, but you saw them come back in the second against the Hawks, and I don't know about you, Kat. I was not expecting a 5-goal onslaught in the way they did it too.
Me and the intern were both there, so it's kind of interesting. Like we were down 2-0, but it was weird. I wasn't super stressed or upset about it. I was just like, kind of like, okay, we weren't. I was like, we weren't
against the Hawks.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've had comebacks, but I also don't think the guys were fully like playing bad. I just don't think they were playing to their ability. And then, of course, in the second period, they said, okay, we decided to play.
Oh, and the fact was it like 4 goals and like
5 unanswered goals.
Yeah, I was like,
I think 3 within a minute and a half.
Yeah, like it was like 5 goals in 12 minutes, and it was like, excuse me, like yeah.
I gave out so many high fives at the game. I said, "Give me more, and they kept giving me more."
That was the fact that you go for a 5-goal unanswered onslaught, and then they get a couple back. Oh, that game should not be as close as it was to go 5-4, and then of course you get the 2 in the third.
Well, this guy over here is like they scored 1, and he's like, "Oh, you still need another one," and they scored again, and he's like, "No, just," I said, "Stop taunting them and let the period be over."
Richie, stop.
And thankfully it was. So then we get to the third, and the Cane said, "We're just gonna add a little bit of sprinkle on top." But it was a wild ride. All of the Columbus games have been a wild ride, but I like the way this one ended a lot more.
Oh yeah, well yeah, because you look at the fact that like I said, you're down 2, you get 5 in the second, and just the fact is, it's Seth Jarvis, it's like the way the guys did it too was Jarvis, Robinson, Blake, and Aho, and then you get Martinuk, and then you get Kotkaniemi, and then Jarvis. It's like it seems like almost everyone was just scoring at will at this point. Like, have a night, Seth Jarvis. I mean, Andrei Svechnikov did play really well too. I mean, it's just an all-around great effort where the fact that you have guys all get multi-points in this game for the Carolina Hurricanes to the fact that it's Jarvis for his first 4-point game ever in his career, Aho with 3 guys had 2, and then he had a bunch of 1s. And then the thing that's crazy part is no one on the defense scored a point.
Yeah, that's kind of big for the Canes. I will say, of all the goals, the ones I remember really being just so memorable was Blake's goal, because it was like everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, did that go in? Did that go in?" And they had to go review it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it went in." And it was just like he threw it there, and it just was like the goalie fumbled it, kind of rolled off him over the line, and you're like, "Okay, we're really in this."
The Jarvis goals were the power play goal, and then the snap that skid they were on, and then he goes against the empty netter. How about KK's goal was amazing too.
But of the two, like Blake's, and then I was gonna say Sebastian Aho was the next one, because he literally just shot that and then just turned around and put his hands up, and like kind of like Orlov like spun him around, but he just put his hands up, and it was almost like, "Are we not entertained? Like I did that. Look at me go."
He's almost like Steph Curry when he shoots the 3. He kind of just turns around, starts walking away, like he knew he already made it before it went in. That's like that. What, like I said, Kat, I think it's ever since I forget what year it was. It was that New Year's Day game against the Jackets where we were down like 6-0, and then came back and stormed and beat them. Ever since that game, every time we play the Jackets, it is a gong show. It's a gong show every single time. And you know what? You even the season series with those guys, Kirill Marchenko, I swear he's becoming a Canes. He's a Canes killer, and I'm just like, just stop him.
And we can talk about the goal scorers, because again, that was a huge. The offense was a big talk for that game, but we also have to talk about that Freddie Anderson became the second fastest goaltender to reach 300 wins.
Hey, and the fact that he played also his 500th game too. Like what a way to celebrate your first game.
And then looking forward to the Rangers game shutout. Like he's just welcome back, Freddie. Welcome back, Freddie. The Ranger game, some of those saves he made was
we'll get to that for sure. Well, think about this though, Kat. He's on a 6-game winning streak.
This is like last season.
He's on
back and he's like, I'm back.
He's on a 6-game winning streak with a 1.84 goals against, and his save percentage is like 920 something. And I'm going to say this now, Rachel. If you want to clip it, fine. I listened to the Steve Dangle podcast right after the trade, and I have to address it because I'm really sick of hearing this take. They said that they hate the Hurricanes goaltending. I want to just emphasis for everyone else. The Hurricanes goaltending is completely fine. It is not the problem. Stop it. If you are watching Canes games and you keep mentioning goaltending, you aren't watching Canes games. Goaltending is not the issue. Stop it.
I did get those. I did in the live with the Rangers. I did get the question like, was our goaltending an issue? And I was like, I don't have a problem with it right now. Was it an issue when it was our second and our third string? Yes. But now
dicey.
Now that we actually
the main issue though.
Yeah, now that we have our duo that we thought we were going to have all season, I think it's going to be good. Freddie's got to stay healthy. He has to stay healthy.
And the thing too is like he became the 4th goalie this season to get a shutout. Like we've had 4 different goalies get a shutout. We're the 4th team to pull that off. Like that's insane to think about that. We're the 4th team ever to have 4 different goalies get a shutout in the season.
Yeah, Zach, I will say I've beaten the goalie take with a dead horse, so no more clipping that one. But if you see, we gotta move on to newer content. But like,
yes, I'm just saying it's just so tiring, Richie. It's just tiring.
I think Canes fans that watch most hopefully agree. Like the way Freddie and Cooch are currently playing, like these are Stanley Cup winning goaltender performances. If they can keep that going throughout the entire playoffs, obviously. Playoffs are interesting. It's streaky. You never know what you're gonna get when you're hot, when you're not. But if they stay hot during that stretch, I am parading in Raleigh this year.
Don't play with my feelings like that, Richie. It's been a while.
So moving on, we have to go to the Islanders game, which is a little bit of a different vibe than the Blue Jackets because you're coming from behind with the Blue Jackets. With the Islanders, you were up 2-0. It felt very comfortable, even though you had some newer. That's when Hall and Rantanen had made their debuts. So I feel like there was a lot of like you wanted to perform really well, but it's also like you got new guys and you've got to get like acclimated to each other.
Prep, no practice, no nothing. Like they basically got there while they're having their meetings in the hotel and all right, let's go play a hockey game. Like there was zero prep for these guys on the ice. And they're like, first line, Hall on the 4th, now you're going to the second.
It's different when you're like doing the lines and everything. So they did okay. Like, first of all, we have to talk about that Kotkaniemi pass up to Rozovic for that first goal was absolutely gorgeous. What a find. What a pass. And that's why I say I don't care if he doesn't score all the time. If he can do that, I'm fine with it. That's totally
that was an absolute sauce. Like, oh my gracious, what a pass by KK.
So, but we got that. Aho scored, of course. And then unfortunately, we did have the Islanders come back. And like I said, you're acclimating to new lines, but also now you're going to go into overtime. That's like special teams where you haven't had a chance to really like practice and get going. You're used to like Aho and Natchez. Natchez isn't there anymore. You lost your face-off king and Drury. Like that's something like a regular full 5-on-5 is one thing to get acclimated to. Special teams, totally different.
It's interesting because talking about overtime, I think people put a lot of blame on Svech for trying to find either Jarvie or out to
on
go.
On him trying to shoot. Like he was trying to score, dude. That's the whole point of it.
Correct. And like I know possession's key, but like you have to take those chances and when you're on 3-on-3, like you're trying to score. That's the whole point of overtime. Score.
We yell at them when they just pass it around. You just pass it around and like you shoot and whatever, and everyone's like yelling, shoot, you have to shoot there. And so Svech actually tries that. It gets blocked, unfortunately, and it's a little bit of a scuffle, and we get that, but it's gonna happen. That's what taking that risk of trying to score does.
I
wasn't upset with Svetch on that. I thought he tried.
I will say, though, I think it's the Anders Lee goal to get the tying one is what hurts, because the fact it was a juicy rebound and the fact that no one boxed him out and he beat whoever the defender was to the goal to get the tying one. That one I think kind of was more of a backbreaker, because it's like Piotr was playing out of it. I won't put any of those goals against Piotr. Like, he was playing out of his mind all game in that one. It's just unfortunate circumstances where it's just small lapses led to goals for the Islanders. Like you said, it's the overtime. It's a 2-on-1. Brock Nelson wins it. Hey, what can you do? Honestly, because we know what happened last time on the Island. We did not play great against the Islanders last time we played them at their place. So at least you got a point out of it. Does it stink you want to lose to the Islanders, who are pretty much, bad on special teams? What can you really do? I mean, you can't win them all. At least you got a point. It stinks, but I kind of give the guys grace in this game, because the fact you have to now change everything on the fly. And like I said, with no practice, no morning skate, zero prep. Hey, the guys just flew in that morning and was like, all right, here's the video stuff, and now get ready for a hockey game with no time. Like, I'll give the guys grace on that one. Like, what can you really do when they have a new first line? Hall's on the fourth, goes up to the second. He is on the power play 2. Rantanen's on PP1. They're trying to get used to the system. They're trying to get used to the guys. So, yeah, it's going to take time. But you saw in that game, though, Hall was throwing hits. Rantanen finished with 5 shots. Like, he had 3 separate chances to score. One went off the post, and Hoberg decided to just stone him on 2 of them. Like, what can you really do at that point? So I'm not even mad about that game.
My only critique from that game, everyone was like, wow, this is a really big deal for Blake, because he went from maybe not playing in the league to getting to play beside Aho and Rantanen, and then he was playing great. Like, he was just playing his game.
Oh,
he
man,
knew where
the
to
takes
be.
I saw after that game, though. Oh, takes I saw after that game.
I will say the only thing that I believed about that game is I think Aho was so excited to have Rantanen with him. He forced it a little bit, trying to get Rantanen to get going and to be
his goal was forced.
And I think one of the people that I don't know if it was Shannon, but they were talking about Blake, and they were like, it's kind of good. Like, you don't have to force your line mate to do it. Just do what you're doing. And I was like, honestly, you don't need to talk about Blake about that. Aho's the one trying to do a little bit too much, trying to find Rantanen. So that would be it. But I would put that as to, you want to get the guy going. It's your friend. You're really excited. This is a switch up. Let's see what we can do. But it was just a lot. It's a big transition. It's a lot. So I'm not upset with that game. That'll be the one. We predicted that we would lose 1 in overtime. That ended up being the one.
It was the Islanders, not the Jackets. I will say this real quick, Kat. It's I don't understand the takes on why everyone's so down on Blake. He's just.
I haven't seen any of those.
Oh, who's saying that? We don't take Jackson Blake slander on the pod. I know we're Jacob Slavin first podcast. We might be a Jackson Blake second podcast. Let me tell you.
I haven't seen any of that. I'm surprised.
No, if you go to, I think it was the morning practice lines. I just posted the practice lines. I saw a lot of stuff on why is Jackson Blake on the first line? Can we stop making him a thing? They need to swap him with Jarvie. Yada, yada, yada. I'm like, you have to think about this too, though. It's Rod wants a balanced lineup. If you take Blake off the 30, you put him against the Jordans. How is that?
I mean, I could see him and Jarvis switching at one point if need be. But I think right now Jarvis is doing fantastic with his 2 dads.
Yeah, that line clicks.
He can move around. Why don't you I think Blake has been playing. He's been great, doing great passes. He's got the defensive effort. But I think he's been playing really well with I think him adjusting to Aho and Rantanen is exactly what you want, because who else can teach him great positioning and where to be on the ice? If he does make a couple mistakes and you start being all right, this line's really not clicking. Yeah, switch him and Jarvis if you need to. But I think Rod's comfortable with what they're doing right now, especially the Rangers game.
It's just some of the takes from just why are we dumping on this kid who's a rookie? He's got 11 goals. He's 3rd in the entire league in goal scoring for all rookie skaters. Let's pump the brakes a little bit on giving him grief when he's having to adjust to different lines all season. Now he's with Aho and Rantanen.
I'm glad I'm not following the same people you are then.
I'm not. The thing is, I'm not, though. It's just reporting. It's just responding to practice
Why do you go down there, Zach? That's literally, you never do that. It's not worth it.
Don't look at me, man.
I am looking at you. You're the one who brought it up. You did go and look.
Also, though, bringing up the lines, I think losing Carrier hurts to an extent of like that's why Jarvy's down there too. Of like he fits in so well. So like Carrier, that per Tulski is built in the lab to be on that line. But Jarvie equally
Jost is out too.
the same.
Like Tyson Jost is even out. Like you have injuries. Like you have to figure out lines with what you got. Like what are you really supposed to do there?
I think if need be, they can be exchangeable. But I think right now,
there's no reason
Jarvis is playing. Jarvis is still scoring wherever he is. It's fine. I think you're giving time. You're getting time with Rantanen and Aho going. And I don't think Blake has made mistakes. He hasn't made any goal different, like nothing crazy. You got to let this kid learn. So I'm not upset about that. You know what I'm really excited about is that we have beat the Rangers 3 times this season, and I'm so excited.
We also swept them at Madison Square Garden, so we've went into their barn twice and beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Bing bong, bing bong. How does that taste, Rangers? Bing bong.
Frederick Anderson.
That's the clip. That's the clip.
Bing bong, the bing bong, the witch is dead.
I will say it was kind of interesting. You could hear "Let's Go Canes" chants in MSG, and that was wild.
Okay, can we talk about Freddie Anderson in this game? Like we talked about it a little bit earlier and kind of preview on this. That toe save against Chris Kreider, how does that puck not go in?
I don't know how
I will say, with all credit to Freddie, because that's insane. He had that save, but also Kreider wasn't even stuffing it back across the line. He was stuffing it horizontal, so Freddie's toe was able. It was like, what are you doing?
Either way, though.
But I was like, I think we were a little bit behind in the live, and so it happened. And I think Jimmy was talking, and I was just like. I was like, I don't know how to react. And then he got to it, and I was like, yeah.
Even worse, with Kat being on the stream, I still want to watch the game. So I'm off to the side, not on the stream, trying to make as little noise as possible. Watching that save and not being able to say a word, I got up like, it was crazy.
It's like you're trying to be Charlie Chaplin and kind of like doing like silent, silent movie stuff. Like, I love Rod for that because of how they do like the post game, like here's the hat and all that stuff. After the Ranger game, he talked about how that stop that Svechnikov did, that was going to be a goal. Svechnikov even stopped the puck from going in. How about Mikko Rantanen? Puck's on the back door to the Rangers guy. If Mikko Rantanen not intercepted
it, it was.
If he does intercept that's back door. So Freddie, phenomenal, 22 save performance in that shutout. But you have Mikko Rantanen already adapting to his play on our zone, and Andre making a play himself. It was a total team effort on those saves. But Frederick Anderson, 10 bell save after 10 bell save, like he has to be in Chris Kreider's walls after that game. I'm sorry, that is bonkers.
Welcome back, Freddie Anderson.
The Great Dane is back, 6-1. Like I said, a 1.84 goals against. I don't have the save percentage on the top of my head, but I know it's like 9. It has to be like 920 something at this point because, oh my absolute goodness, Freddie Anderson, 6-game winning streak for this guy.
But also, it was really fun. So, like, you never like an 11-7, but the story of Riley Stillman finally making his debut at the Canes and getting to wear his dad's jersey and getting into a fight.
You love to see it too.
It was fantastic.
Oh my gosh, yeah, like. KK gets in a fight against the Islanders. First fighting major all season. It comes in game 51. Or game 50 or game 51. I think it's game 50. Whatever. It does against the Islanders. And then it's Riley Stillman in game whatever it was against the Rangers. And it's funny because they were joking about it. It's like, hey, I think it was Corey Laviolette that's like, hey, Riley got in a fight. He, one-upped his dad because he never fought. And Rod's like, yeah, but he's got a lot more stuff to catch up to his pops. But it's just 17 years later, you see the difference from Corey Stillman wearing it to now Riley Stillman wearing it. And honestly, and Rod even said it too, Riley Stillman in 7 minutes, he was effective for his limited role because that's tough as it is. Like, you're the 7th D-man, so you're going to have to kind of like come in at certain times and give guys breaks, but you're not going to be a consistent guy out there. So yeah, you're going to be limited. But the fact that he took advantage of 7 minutes and was effective doing it, and got a fight in there too to kind of get the guys going. Have a night, Riley Stillman.
When's the last time the Canes have fought in back-to-back Canes? I need Canes stats to look that up for me because I feel like that's not something we do often. We don't fight in general, let alone back-to-back nights. It must be something about New York.
When in New York, fight like a New Yorker. What I'm saying.
Oof.
Bing bong.
I mean, hey, you know what? I mean, just like the movie Escape from New York, at least we got there with some points. That's all that really mattered. But just an absolute great game. Like I said, Andre gets 2 goals. Mikko and Taylor Hall. The Taylor Hall assist was what a great job by him to like stop on the sidewall, suck some defenders, and find Svetch in the middle, basically wide open and scores. And then you got, like you said earlier, Kat. I will say like the pass to get it up to Mikko, he finds Blake. Blake finds him right back. And just having that wherewithal to be like his hockey IQ of like my spidey sensors are tingling. Like, oh, there's Andre. He passes it back to him. And it's just Shesterkin's already on the ground. He just has to like just tap it in. Just tap it in like Happy Gilmore. And there you go. And then you're running away with it.
Yeah, those 2 assists, and loving the fact that the Rangers were so we want to honor them because they were able to provide all of the points for every player involved in the blockbuster trade. First, it was the Avalanche, and they let Drury and Natchez get points against them. Then we played them, and Rantanen and Hall got their points as well. I'm feeling a little shook to say this, but thanks, Rags. We very much appreciate it.
I don't know if anyone can find the stat. I'm curious to see if there's ever been a team that's had to face 2 teams that were in a blockbuster or just in the trade in general. And I think it was back-to-back games and give points to all participants in said trade. I don't think that's
you know what's interesting? The Avs played the Islanders too. They played them as well. And then both of us played the New York teams. So both those teams got to see
crazy how that kind of worked out
real quick.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how it worked out. And the fact that the Avalanche also had to play Boston in a back-to-back with them, and then had to play the Rangers. But it's crazy just how it works out to where it's like the Rangers had to play both teams, and all 4 guys scored and got points in those games.
The Rangers,
that's so rare.
The Rangers are just the gift that keeps on giving this season with all those points. As well as currently being 3 points out of the last wild card spot as of this recording. So it is a great time to hate watch the Rangers.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, Jimmy. If Jimmy does ever see this, Jimmy was fantastic to watch that live with.
Jimmy.
Like I said,
he's such a great
I said at the end, he's the most okay Rangers fan. I'm just kidding. But he is very nice. It was really fun to listen to him. It was also very fun to hear as an outsider, because it was his live, his podcast really, and I got to jump on and join him. I always love to see other people from other fan bases try to say Svechnikov's name. That is also always fun, especially with his New York accent.
I mean, probably not as bad as Buccigross is where you're just like, what? What did you say?
So I will say that's really great. That was the last three games with the Canes. Can't be mad about it. 5 points, very solidly in the second place in the Metro, slowly gaining on the Caps. But I feel like this team is starting to get into its groove for sure.
Hey, Kat, 2025.
It's the year of optimism.
Say the line. Yes,
I said it from the beginning. It's the year of optimism.
Think about this too. We are 9-3-2 right now in the month of January with the Blackhawks coming up. We finished December 6-1 for 13 points. When we beat the Blackhawks, knock on wood, that is a 7-game point streak, and you're finishing 10-3-2. That's 22 points. Talk about a rebound going from 13 to 22. Yes, you played more games, kind of, sort of ish, yes, but I mean, it's 13 compared to 15 if my math is correct. So you're still only playing 2 more games, but you're coming out 9 points clear of your last month. Talk about a turnaround where you're in third place with the Jackets coming on your heels, and now you go into January, even with the loss against Minnesota and that loss against the Sabres and that backbreaker to the Ducks. You found a way to essentially turn your season around, and then you get Rantanen and Hall at the back end of that.
Well, that's what we were also saying before. Is a lot of when we were going that 1 game on, 1 game off, 1 game on, 1 game off. That's what we were saying in previous episodes. Is it's not a reason to panic because the Canes had built themselves such a solid first start of the season, and now they're finding their footing, getting back into that. They're getting out of their slump where other teams are getting into a slump, and the Canes are like, all right, we can get we haven't really lost footing, so we can just go now.
41, 16, and 4. That is a great record. They're 15 games above 500. You are feeling really good.
That's about almost the exact opposite of the Chicago Blackhawks record.
So was it 16, 29, and 4, if I'm correct?
Something right like that? Yeah.
31, 16, 4 Canes, the Hawks 16, 29, 5.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was off by 1, but yeah, that's a huge difference. But we've been saying this all along as a guys. It's okay. Teams go through bad stretches. Yeah, the Hurricane stretch lasted a little longer than we wanted. But even when we're struggling, January's been a fine month, and now you get these two additions at the back end of that with the Hawks to finish out January. Then you got the Kings, Jets, Wild, and Utah before we go into the Four Nations break, and then we're back on the 22nd for the stretch run, starting with Toronto in Toronto. You're feeling pretty good about yourselves right now going into the Four Nations break with 5 games left.
Canes are 5th in the league in points and 1 point from being 3rd in the league. Obviously, Winnipeg and Washington are the powerhouses currently. Canes aren't even that far away from them.
So we're easily second in the entire Eastern Conference then.
Yes, and we have more to talk about, of course, because we can keep talking about how we're moving up and with our upcoming opponents. But for now, we will take a quick break as we will take a listen to our sponsors. Listen up for those deals, guys. It's a great time of year to be a Caniac. Guess who's back? Back again. Yeah, that's right. SeatGeek is back as one of our official sponsors, and we're so excited to have them because honestly, who doesn't like cheaper tickets? SeatGeek is a ticket app that takes the confusion out of buying tickets. They put a 0 to 10 score on each ticket to know if you're getting a good or a bad deal. Honestly, they do that score. They also do red is bad, green is good. And they show you, I'm pretty sure they show you the view from the seats as well. So it's a really nice way to really see, hey, am I really getting the most for my buck through this app? All our viewers get $20 off. Of course, we got to hook you up with that Sebastian Aho deal, but $20 off their first ticket purchase with our code TheSurgeCast, all one word. We will have links in our descriptions. But yeah, you go to SeatGeek. Guys, it's the new year. That means there's concerts coming up. That means there's more games that maybe you want to get some cheaper tickets to, treat some people. Maybe that was your Christmas gift. But seriously, download the app, go get your SeatGeek tickets, use our code TheSurgeCast and get that Sebastian Aho deal of $20 off. Go check it out and let us know what shows you're going to see.
Of course, got to talk about an OG sponsor, and that is Primo X Hockey. They've been with us since even before episode 1, and they've always got some great deals for you guys. You're looking for pucks, sticks, helmets, skates, everything you can desire, they have it. They also got flags, they got koozies. I mean, they're also local too, which is really great. They're right there on 1411 Diggs Drive, Suite E. I mean, also season ticket members for the Carolina Hurricanes. You're also helping support fellow Caniacs as well. Great group of guys. They're open Monday through Saturday. Super easy to check out. Just go to primoxhockey.com to check out their hours, check out their amazing store. And if you use the code TheSurgeCast at checkout, you get 20% off your order, which is, another Sebastian Aho discount. And the good thing too is free internet. They have free shipping, which is always awesome to have as well. And of course, if you're not able, if you're able to go to the actual shop, well, let them know that the SurgeCast sent you. Maybe they might hook you up with something. Who knows? But always great to have them around. Great group to have as a sponsor, and we cannot thank Primo X Hockey enough for being with us since day one. Once again, primoxhockey.com. Use the code TheSurgeCast at checkout for your Sebastian Aho 20% off discount.
Have you played Pick 6 from DraftKings yet? What are you waiting for? You better get on it. The playoffs are here and time is running out. As the official daily fantasy sports partner of the NFL, DraftKings does fantasy sports like no one else. Play for better payouts on Pick 6. It's super easy to get started. Select 2 or more players. Choose if they'll have more or less of a stat like touchdowns, yard sacks, and more. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. And DraftKings is making it even sweeter for first-time customers. New Pick 6 customers play 5, get 50 in Pick 6 credits. Win more cash on Pick 6. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to play $5, get 50 in Pick 6 credits. Only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
The Super Bowl matchup is set, and y'all can get in on the actions with DraftKings. Got current odds for y'all as of this recording, January 29th. Kansas City Chiefs money line, minus 130. Might want to look at that if you're trying to bet on Philly right now. They're plus 110, but also get in the action on some touchdown scores as well. Anytime touchdown score odds for Saquon Barkley, minus 200. I want to get a little bit friskier, plus 155, Xavier Worthy. So don't miss out. Super Bowl is set. It'll be a great watch, great experience, and you can get in on that action again with DraftKings Sportsbook. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you just bet $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. We are now an affiliate of the NHL Shop, a Fanatics experience. We have the link in our link tree. Hit the little globe icon at the top to check out the shop through our link. Y'all don't want to miss it out. Can't spoil anything crazy, but I'll give you a little teaser. There are some huge drops on the way within the next week regarding some major events and major games coming up. So don't miss out. And even if it's not for buying some of those bigger events, Daily Canes gear, y'all can get that on the NHL Shop as well. So go ahead, visit our link in our link tree, check out the NHL Shop, help us out a little bit, get swaggered out with some more Canes gear. Check it out, NHL Shop through our link tree.
All right, guys, welcome back. Really, you should check out having the NHL Shop as our new affiliate is super cool. Listen, we all love to rock out our NHL swag, whether it be Canes, if you have a secondary. I mean, there's some good stuff. I would love some Seattle Kraken stuff. It's just their marketing of their merchandise is just so beautiful.
Oh, it's so good. How about the Blue Jacket Stadium Series jersey? Whoo, that thing is
so
nice.
Anything that you guys are going to look at, please consider us when you are going to purchase that, because listen, we know you're our favorite Caniacs, and we know we are your favorite Canes podcast besides Mike and Shane. So listen, we pat your back, you pat our back. All right. We're just be back. We're all friends here. We all need to save a little bit of money in the long run. That's all I'm going to say on that. But yeah, again, check out all of our wonderful sponsors. They have some great deals for you. And all of us honestly have used those deals ourselves, and I think they're fantastic. But getting back into the swing of things, we did talk about our previous 3 games. Well, we do have some more games coming up before we go into the 4 Nations break. So for the next 3, we're going to have Chicago, which is going to be really fun because that's going to see the return of Teuvo Teräväinen. And then who do we have? The Kings. Mm-hmm. And what's the third one?
Winnipeg.
At Winnipeg.
Ugh. Of those 3, I'm the most scared of Winnipeg. But let's start with Chicago. Honestly, Chicago is the real reason that our unpaid intern is making his debut, because even if you're watching with us on YouTube and you see him decked out in his Carolina Hurricanes gear, if there's someone that he cheers for almost as loud as the Canes, it is Connor Bedard.
Yeah, explicitly Connor Bedard.
Now you show the flag in the back, Zach. Okay.
Was somewhat a Canes fan, or not Canes, Blackhawks fan back when they had their run in the 2010s. Went to all 3 parades. Absolutely electric. Highly recommend if you're ever able to make it to a championship parade, your team or not. It's a great time. But then didn't really follow after they fell off. But Connor Bedard is the hope and dreams of Chicago outside of Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. But I think that's a big thing. Obviously, Bedard, what can he do? He's currently, I believe, 42nd in the NHL. Yes, 42nd in the NHL in points this season. So maybe a little bit of a sophomore slump. I know everyone's trying to talk up Celebrini being greater than Bedard. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Bedard needs some help. That team, especially have to get rid of Taylor Hall, who was Bedard's mentor on that team. Outside of Turbo, like who do you have? I think they're trying to get rid of Seth Jones. Like they are not. They are not.
Bertuzzi's his line mate. They have him strapped to Bertuzzi, and that's about it, really.
They don't have anyone good, and Bedard is suffering because of it. Like he scored that like angled goal yesterday or 2 days ago against Tampa, and like he didn't even look happy. He didn't even look happy after the goal. Like the kid is miserable.
They won 4-1.
Yeah, so hopefully he puts on a showing like he did last year, gets a couple goals on the board in Lenovo Center.
Hopefully Aho doesn't wreck him again.
But then the Canes win. You know what's crazy? Yeah, so Aho had that hit on Bedard last year, and post-game, Aho literally was like, oh, that was him? Like, asking if it was a welcome to the NHL moment. I was just doing my job, like finishing a check. Like I wasn't trying to send any message. And then the worst part of it all, the very next home game, they had that hit up on the intro video. I was like, come on. But I think hopefully he puts on a great show because, I mean, he is the future of the league. But then obviously the Canes win as well. I think would be the best case scenario for everyone involved. Gary certainly wants to see that and the NHL Bedard show out because when he's on, he's outstanding. It's just a matter of playing on a sub.
Gotta get him some help. Yeah.
So
that's the difference with him and the Sharks. That's the difference with him and the Sharks, though, because like the Sharks are also struggling, but they're having fun because that's like a young team all growing together. Meanwhile, Bedard's like, it's just me, and there's so much pressure, and I don't have any fun because I don't have any help. So,
I don't think Turbo's the personality for Bedard to have fun around. Respectfully, the Turbo, we miss him. We're going to celebrate him.
We are not slandering Teuvo Teräväinen, sir.
He left. He left.
I will make. If you want to get flamed by all the Turbo fans still in Carolina, have at it with that. I am not partaking in the Teuvo slander. We are not part of that.
Go ahead, Zach. What were you saying?
Oh no, it's just tough when the fact that you just have Bertuzzi, Teräväinen, Ryan Donato when Donato's not bad either, but just overall it's tough when you win 1, you lose 3, lose 4, and you get kind of embarrassed in the Winter Classic and games after that. It's a tough scenes, man. And then you go and retain half a contract and get their own pick for Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get younger and younger, and it's tough scenes. But honestly, though, with the Hurricanes, I said it last time we played these guys 10 days, which is still crazy. It's like 10 days ago. This is not a must win, but this is really a can't lose. Like, this is a game where you have to go in, like how we started against the Rangers, do it against the Blackhawks, get Lenovo rocking early, foot on the gas all game, and basically just play your game.
Yeah.
And just show us 60 minutes of Canes hockey like we saw against the Rangers. And I hate to say it, beat the brakes off the Hawks. You kind of have to. Like, just you have to beat them. Sorry, it's not a must win, but stop playing down to your opponent. We've done that too much this season. This is the turnaround of when we play teams that are not good, you beat them. When you play the good teams, you have to fight to beat them. No more of this. We lose to the Sabres. We lose to the Ducks. We have close ones against the Hawks. Just 60 minutes right from the jump. End this game early.
Which, honestly, the unfortunate part about the Blackhawks, because Kat and I have had so many games on like a random Saturday when the Canes aren't playing, and we'll see the Hawks up like 3-0 on Edmonton or something. They'll always have this huge lead, like in the first. They blow it every single time. So like that's why I didn't feel.
I know.
I didn't worry about the other one. I won't worry if they go down in this game either. But to your point, though, yes, like the Canes need to stop this nonsense of playing down to bad opponents. Like dominate the games you're supposed to win.
Like I said, I've been saying this a lot too, though. This isn't a league where, like, you look at the 90s and 2000s where it's like you have these mega teams, and like every team you look at on the schedule, it's like win, because you know that game's not even going to be close. Every team's got stars, and Mike and Shane say it all the time. The other team gets paid to win games. So the Hawks they've beaten the Colorado Avalanche twice this season. They just beat Vegas. They've just beaten Tampa. So they can beat good teams too. Everyone can beat anyone. But if you're the Carolina Hurricanes, I mean, obviously we've lost to Nashville, lost to Utah, lost to the Ducks, Sabres, yada, yada, yada. You just can't do that. You have to take care of business. If you want to lose to like a middling of the road team, like a team that's in 20th, fine. Not bottom 5 of the entire league, especially if you're last place. You take care of business against them. So, yeah, it's, like I said, nothing against that team of the Hawks, who we all kind of watch secondary, cat against her will for the most part, but it's you have to beat them. You have to take care of business. 60 minutes, get Lenovo rocking early, end it quick. That's all I'm really saying for that one.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be a little bit of an emotional game, obviously, because it is the return of Teuvo Teräväinen for the first time since he left. But you kind of,
and Taylor Hall goes up against his old team as well. So which free space is it going to be first? Teuvo against the Canes or Taylor Hall against the Hawks? Who's the free space to score against their former team?
I would say Hall.
That would be fantastic. I would love to see Taylor Hall get his first goals. You know what? I would love to see Mikko and Taylor Hall. Like, hey, you got your first assist in the last game. How about you both get your first goal at Lenovo Center in your first time as Hurricanes?
This is the game to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the game to do it.
Mikko has been so close the last 2 games. You know he's due for one. He's got 8 shots in 2 games. That is insane. You know he's due for a goal. He's going to do it against the Hawks. How about a Mikko Hattie? Give me a Mikko Hattie in his first home game as a Hurricane. Yes, please.
That'd be nice.
That would be electric. The roof is. Someone tell Doug Warp they might need to get a new roof. All I have to say.
We do need to note as well as that, and as well as having Turbo come back, there is going to be a pregame ceremony celebrating Freddie's 500th NHL game.
300th win.
Yes. I mean, I think the thing just says 500th game, but sure.
It said both on social, so
okay. So either way, there's a thing celebrating Freddie. So it'll be really exciting. They need to win that too. I don't think he'll be a net, but they need to win that for him.
I'm predicting it's going to be Piotr because the last time he played was against the Islanders, and you really don't want to have him go Saturday to Saturday without playing a game. So most likely it's going to be Piotr against the Hawks on Thursday, and then probably Freddie against the Kings. But things could change, but I definitely think it's going to be Piotr, so that way they're not having him sit for a week in between games.
So, but it'll be really fun. It's a great honor for Freddie. Looking forward to that. Moving on, though, from the Chicago game, we'll be looking at playing the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're 3rd in the Pacific Division. Have we played them yet? Yes.
Yes. I will say this, though, for the Kings, they have to be shaking right now, seeing their projected first-round matchup is against the Edmonton Oilers again. They've already played these guys 3 straight years in the first round. I think a 4th would just break their soul.
No, we have not played the Kings yet.
We haven't? Okay. I know, I get confused because we go over there and we've played like Vegas and
I think we played
not the Kings
there and like Anaheim and a quick little road trip out there.
Yeah, we haven't really done our California trip yet. We've done our Canadian road trip. We just haven't done the California trip yet, which is weird because we did that first last year. But
speaking of road trips, though, the Kings are on. This will be their 5th game of a 5-game road trip. So they've been on the road for about a week by the time they get to us, and they have lost 5 of their last 6 games. So either they're going to come out unbelievably energized in this game, or the Kings will steamroll them, and they're like, God, just get us back to California already, because we just want to get home, sleep in our own beds. I've been on a week-long road trip before, back in my managing days with the men's basketball team. once you hit like day 4 or 5 on that road trip, you hate your teammates. You're just ready to get home.
Hey, if they want to leave Kevin Fiala or Anze Kopitar in Carolina too, would not be upset about that. But I mean, the Kings. I mean, yeah, while they are losing, that's like I said. And the thing is, too, Richie and Kat, Drew Doughty's back. He has been activated back on the lineup. So now you got him now back on that lineup. That
but he's still probably gonna have to.
Oh, I mean, yeah, he's gonna have to get. Well, yeah, because he's been out since preseason. But I mean, it's still Drew Doughty. Like that dude's gonna be a Hall of Famer. Like, let's kind of be honest here. He's won a couple of cups. He's played 1,300. I want to say he's played 1,300 games. He's played a lot of games. He's well north of over 1,000. Like this dude has been playing forever. So you definitely want to keep an eye on him. Obviously, you want to keep an eye on Anze Kopitar because he's gonna be another Hall of Famer because how good he's been. Adrian Kempe, LaFerriere has been really good for them so far. You know, you also got, like I said, Fiala. You know, you have a team that's still pretty good, and their goaltending. Darcy Kemper, surprisingly enough, is doing pretty well for the Kings. Like, and that's kind of crazy in the fact that trade with PLD. While they are third and while they are struggling, the Kings are still a playoff team that's going to be, you know, another measuring stick game against another tough Western Conference opponent. So they're the first of 4 straight Western teams before we go into the Four Nations break. So this is a good indicator of how you are as a Carolina Hurricanes team. We're going up against a team who right now is in a playoff spot, who's staring down the Oilers for a 4 straight first-round matchup.
Yeah. I'm honestly, I don't have I think the Kings, it's one of those teams where, like, we don't see them a whole lot, and they can be, like, hit or miss. I don't think we have a terrible record against them. So it's just kind of like, after a busy week of playing the Metro teams, I'm just like, all right.
We've seen the Metro teams a lot recently. I think I remember last year was really memorable was I think beating the Kings in a shootout thanks to Jordan Martinook on the 9th attempt. So hopefully we'll get that many attempts.
Let's not bring that back up.
I'm just saying, call a spade, man. It is what it is, but it should be an interesting game. You know, like I said, they have a lot of good names on that team. So
yeah, the third team that we'll be meeting is actually going to probably be the most interesting. The Winnipeg Jets, who are on an absolute heater in front of their goaltender, Connor Hellebuyck.
I mean, it's honestly Connor Hellebuyck, and I'm going to put this out there. Possible Hart. He is on a world-beating tour. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know his goals against and his save percentage are absolutely ridiculously good. Like this is Vezina plus some other trophies type of season that he's having. Yeah, this team is absolutely rolling right now. Of course, you got Scheifele, you got Perfetti, you got Velarde.
You want to hear something crazy too? I mean, we've talked about it before when we've talked about goaltender interference. What even is it? Hellebuyck was a goaltender before that literally wrote to the league saying, "This is what I think goaltender interference is." And he said, "I've never heard from them again about it." And I'm like, "What do you think? Do you think the number one goaltender right now probably has some insight for you? Maybe."
I mean, he's on a world beating tour right now. Like I said, with his stupid stat line. Yeah, Connor, you know he's going to be manning that goal for Team USA, and I feel so bad for everyone else. They're going to try to go up against that guy in the Four Nations.
If they get around Slavin first, and then
they're true, but still, yeah, and you have to go around Jarvis and everyone else. But point being, yeah, that's going to be good luck being Connor Hellebuyck right now. The Jets are 73 points, tied for first, not just in the Western Conference, but the entire NHL. Even that team started out so hot. Yes, they had a losing streak. So, hey, guys, even the best team in the league can have a losing streak. Yeah, they're already at 73 points, which is insane.
Tied for first with the Capitals. Mm-hmm.
Which is insane to think about. We're barely over halfway. Not every team's even played 50 games yet. And these guys already have 73 points. And it's oh boy, the Jets are a problem. So yeah, this is going to be like I said, I thought we talked about how the Kings are going to be a measuring stick game. This is going to be like a whole other level of just, all right, how do we stack up against these guys? Because, oh boy.
Yeah, I'm really excited. You got to remember too, Nino Niederreiter is on that team.
All the love Nino, but yeah,
love Nino.
Apparently, I look like him per a photo we took once upon a time. I don't know if that's true or not, but someone called it out. So
a little bit.
If you squint closely enough, they
have similarly shaped heads, so it's close.
The snoggin, the Nino noggin,
the Nino noggin.
noggin.
Oh gosh! Now you start speaking. I think was it French or something they speak in Switzerland. So there you go, Rich. Just figure it out.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting couple of upcoming games. I think you got a game here with Chicago where you can really continue to get these guys acclimated. You can get them feeling that home advantage of the Caniacs, really welcoming, being on site, hearing how loud it is and all of that.
Always.
And then you're gonna get a Kings where it's kind of middle of the road. Okay, this is a good team. It's not gonna be something crazy. But this is another team where you're all right, let's see how we stack up. It's always interesting when we play a team on the West. And then Winnipeg is all right, are you going to compete with one of the top contenders? We didn't do so great with the Capitals before. Let's see how we do with Winnipeg. You got to figure out, listen, teams that win playoffs are the teams that have unstoppable goalies. You have to figure them out. So can we figure them out in this meeting? That's going to be the question. I think it's going to be really interesting. And let's see what we think our predictions of points are with this team. And we will start with the unpaid intern. What do you think points-wise we're going to get out of this?
Yeah, getting put on the spot. I think 4
out of possible 6.
out of 6. If you put me on the spot of the game we lose, I just think Winnipeg, because based on the roster and everything, I think when you play Winnipeg again, I believe in March, you'll feel a lot better about yourself, but just with all the new pieces and whatnot. Again,
we also have to note Aho might be sick for these games. We don't know he might be sick at least for Chicago. He might be sick for 2 or 3. So that's also going to be a little bit how are we going to do? But sorry.
And Roslovic's also sick too.
Well, he should come back. He should not still be sick for that much longer. If he is, he has to be in the hospital.
Hopefully Aho's a lot better. Oh, that's a bad timing.
Chicago, I think it'll be like the last game they play sloppy, but they come out on top.
Please no. Do not need another sloppy game against the Hawks.
The Kings, I think, being at home for a little bit, for a couple of days, to have your practice at the Invisalign, sleep in your own bed, or ratting in, probably crashing an Aho's curb. It's going to be nice to be home for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then go out to Winnipeg. Again, I think the team's not there yet to get it done, but by the time you get to the home game versus Winnipeg and a potential Stanley Cup matchup, I think the team will be in a much better position just having been together for longer.
Mm-hmm. All right, Zach, what about you?
So Richie's going for 4. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, slight optimism. 2025.
He's still trying to get on the optimism train.
We'll get him there eventually, guys.
We're working on it.
It just takes time to get on that type of train.
Oh, trust me. We've been working on it for a while. Don't worry.
I commend you. You deserve a medal, an award of some sort. You know what? Full optimism here. Well, slightly full optimism. 5. Roll for 5. So you get the wins against the Hawks in the Kings, but you get at least a point against the Jets. So while I do see us losing to them, but we do see where we're at, and we do get a point out of it. So I'm going for a 5 out of 6 for this one. Kat, what are you? What are your plants telling you? What are the vibes from the house plants? Hey, people got their rocks. People got tarot cards. What are the house plants? What are the vibes?
The house plants.
What are the vibes?
I'm also gonna say 5, but I have a feeling it's not going to be the Jets that we lose a point to. I think it's going to be one of the other teams.
Ooh, you're saying we're going to beat the Jets in Winnipeg?
Yeah, but I don't know if it'll be by a lot. It might be like a 2-1 game. Like I don't know if we're gonna. It depends
Hey,
how they come. If they come out playing like they played against the Rangers,
they'll ask how. They ask how many. That's
yeah.
all that really
So
matters.
I feel like we're gonna drop a point against one of the other teams. So I'm also gonna say 5.
If it's the other teams, it better be the Kings. But yeah, yeah. No, hey, we'll take 5. I mean, if we beat the Jets, great. If we lose them in overtime, okay, so be it. I mean, if we get 6, fantastic.
Yeah, I'll happy to be wrong if we got 6.
Yeah, and you know what though? If we do though, then you're looking at a 9-game point streak by that point.
Ugh, that'd be fantastic.
That would be, like I said, if we didn't lose to Buffalo, I think we'd be on it. I think we're on 6 now. If you had the Buffalo game, technically right now we'd be on 10. So we would be on a 13-game point streak if we didn't lose to Buffalo, and if we do take points in these next 3. But even then, 9, I'll take 9. Give me a 9-game point streak. Thank you very much. And you got 2 games left before you head out to 4 nations for a couple weeks.
So it's going to be really exciting. I loved our little Metro recap. It was great. I'm glad to be off the island of New York.
Yay, we get to see different teams this time. Yes.
So it's going to be interesting. Again, we'll probably keep talking more about the trades if any other trades come up.
There's going to be trades.
And we're going to have a fun little couple of recaps coming up next week after all of these games. And we're going to have some special guests next week as well. I mean, not that our unpaid intern isn't a special guest, but
they're more important than me.
We'll have some real special guests that we're really excited to have. So thank you again for joining us. Unpaid intern, where can they find the podcast that you run on all of our socials? And where can they find the network?
Yeah, so network, I'll start with that. THPN Hockey Podcast Network.com. They have shows for everyone. So if you have some secondary fandom, go check them out. Again, we're on there. Who's on from Shoresy, Zach? Give me that name again.
Taylor
Ryan, yeah. Shoresy, like we got everything on there. Like we love being a part of them. They do so much for us and so many other options out there. Even if you're trying to get a little insight on teams that the Canes are playing, hear what's out there in the NHL world, THPN has you covered.
Mm-hmm.
And then for all the things that I'm doing for the podcast in an unpaid capacity, so please use the NHL Shop affiliate link. X Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube, at the SearchCast, and on TikTok, posting daily now. So whatever's going on in the Canes World game recaps, different news, just posted about Nature's Goodbye post today. It'll be on TikTok. It's at the.surgecast, at the.surgecast. You have no excuse not to go look it up and give it a follow on TikTok. So make sure you're checking that out, giving us the follow, like reposting, all of that stuff. Appreciate everyone that is viewing and being a part of that journey as we build up our TikTok.
Zach,
why not?
Yeah, go give us a follow on all of those. Help out the unpaid intern. Eventually get promoted to paid intern. Zach, where can they find you? I've heard you've picked up another side hustle once again.
You can find me on X at OneTrueZach. I'm also on Blue Sky at Zachary Martin. I got link trees in both my bios. You can check out all my articles at Hockey Writers, Calder Times. You also can check out my other podcast, which is the Locked on Hurricanes. Yep, you can find me on all of those. Kat, where can people find you?
I think that was the shortest it's ever been.
It's going to stay short because I'm sick and tired of getting grief about what I do. So I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt anymore. I'm not giving you.
This is your friend with a hobby who's like, guess what? I also picked up this hobby. Guess what? I also picked up this hobby. Guess what? I also picked up.
It's
this
called
hobby.
Building a brand, Kat. Gosh.
You can find me on X, Twitter, Twix, whatever you call it, at Caniac Chick, and on TikTok at KVT Hunter 74. But again, thank you so much for joining us. Please give us a follow, like, subscribe on anything if you have not yet. We love talking with all of you. I hope you guys enjoyed the emergency podcast. We really did enjoy that. We were frazzled and we were excited and we didn't know what was going on, but we are glad you guys all tuned in to talk out with us. So again, thank you for joining me, the unpaid intern, and Zach for another episode of the SearchCast. We'll see you next time. on the SearchCast.
Canes are 3-0 versus the Rangers this season. Bing bong.
Bye.